In part one, we walk through the timeline of Heidi's last known day, piecing together her movements and the interactions she had with those closest to her. We also touched on the relationships in her life at that time, which might hold clues to what happened to her. So if you haven't, please be sure to check out part one before continuing to part two. Now let's pick up where we left off and dig even deeper into the details surrounding this unsolved mystery. Now, Heidi was employed with Camden Capital Partners, LLC, and this is an investment company. Jim says that Heidi did not have a degree or an accounting license. She started out as a personal assistant to Mr. Jason Sugarman, one of the managing partners for this company. And within 5 years of her working her butt off, she was promoted to a bookkeeper, making 6 figures. And it's estimated that her salary was about $130,000 a year. Now that's a high salary for a bookkeeper, even in California. But I have read some resources that she was in fact promoted to a controller and executive assistant, which make more sense to me. But whatever her role was, Heidi worked hard to climb the corporate ladder and could have climbed higher if given the opportunity. So let's get into this boss, Mr. Jason Sugarman. Sugarman is a co-owner of 4 sports teams and also married into wealth. A few days after reporting Heidi missing, Jim received a call from SEC asking about Heidi and her employer, Camden Capital Partners, LLC, and also Jason Sugarman. The SEC is the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC protects investors from fraud and unfair sales practices in a nutshell. So the SEC keeps watch of these investment companies to verify that they aren't getting over on investors. Now keep in mind that investors could be anyone. You, me, businesses, corporations, anyone. Now why would the SEC call Jim and ask about Heidi and her boss Jason Sugarman and Camden Capital Partners? This is extremely odd to me. And also, Jim does not know how they got his contact information. Why would the SEC contact Jim, of all people, during this hectic time to ask about Heidi's job? Now let's dig deeper into this. Jason Sugarman was suspected of frauding investors back in 2019 out of $43 million. This was a whole scheme that included multiple layers. But to sum it up, Jason Sugarman and others were tricking and scheming a Native American tribal group. They got their money from these fraudulent investments, and then they got caught. Through my research, Jason Sugarman walked out of this scheme with almost $9 million in cash. Now, Jason Sugarman's partner in this scheme was charged in 2019 and sentenced to 14 years in federal prison. But this still does not explain why the SEC would call Jim. Maybe they were getting close to unraveling the crimes of Jason Sugarman, and it's just a coincidence that they contacted Jim during the investigation of Heidi's disappearance. I don't know. Now, Jason's partner was charged and sent to prison, and maybe it was Jason's time to face his crimes. But either way, Jim does not know what's going on in that company. He does not work there. And to be honest, Heidi is his ex-wife. I doubt if they sat around on the phone having daily conversations about work. So I do not know why they contacted Jim. But anyway, on October the 29th, the FBI entered Heidi's home. Now, I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I did see that Heidi's $1 million townhome was legally listed as an address for one of Jason Sugarman's businesses. And this is not too far-fetched. It's obvious that he and Heidi built a rapport with each other. She gained the knowledge and assisted him whenever she was needed. So I don't see an issue with her living in one of his many homes. This shows that he trusted her and looked out for her. And again, about her making $100,000 a year and living in a townhome that's worth over $1 million, it's obvious that she had some type of assistance. But again, she was his assistant. So I don't see an issue with that, and I don't think that's odd at all. But who knows? It could be true or not. But either way, Heidi was working hard and doing everything in her power to give her son a good quality of life. And I'm not mad about that. Now, the initial reason for the FBI to enter Heidi's home with guns and the robbery homicide detectives are unknown. Now, some are saying the FBI entered the home in search of documents and any information about Camden Capital Partners, Heidi's employer. The FBI was seen leaving Heidi's home with some files and a few documents. And later, Jim did say that he handed over Heidi's phone and laptop to the FBI as well. Now, Jim held on to Heidi's phone and laptop because he reported that he had been receiving calls from Heidi's boss, Mr. Jason Sugarman, asking for her laptop. Jim claimed that Jason Sugarman did not seem concerned at all about Heidi's whereabouts. All he wanted was the laptop. This multi-million-dollar employer did not hire an investigator, did not put up any reward money. He did not do anything to aid in the search for Heidi. The only thing they wanted was that laptop. Now, Jim spoke with the assistant of Jason Sugarman and was told that Heidi is being accused of stealing money from the company. Now, Jim already handed over the laptop to police, and after investigating Heidi's financial record, the police told Jim that Heidi did not have a lot of money in her accounts. It's disrespectful to accuse this woman who is missing. She disappeared off the face of the earth. And Jason Sugarman accused her of doing the exact same thing he does with his investors. The nerve of this guy. But moving forward, Jim thinks that Jason may have something to do with Heidi's disappearance. But honestly, if you know, some wealthy people could care less if you died or in the process of dying or dead. If they can't use you anymore, you are worthless to them. So in my opinion, I don't think that Jason was being anything other than himself. A nasty, greedy, prideful businessman who's about to go to jail. But there is footage of Jason Sugarman at Heidi's home a few days after her disappearance. He rings the doorbell, and when he gets no answer, he leaves a box of muffins on her doorstep and leaves. Let's get into the most current events involving the case. Friends of Heidi searched the area of the downtown Los Angeles building where she was last seen. During the search warrant of Faith and Hope Luxury Apartments, Investigators stated that forensic evidence was located inside the building, which has led detectives to believe an incident occurred resulting in Heidi's death in downtown Los Angeles. On November the 4th, 2021, Heidi's 2017 Range Rover was discovered in a parking garage of a residential building located several blocks from the luxury apartment building. The investigators of this case have been tight-lipped, and no suspects have been named. The questions we all have are unanswered. The family may know, but as of today, no public statement has been made regarding what was in her vehicle. What evidence did they find in the apartment? And whose apartment was it? And the evidence located inside of the apartment also led detectives to search a landfill. There's so many questions. Did anyone see her in the lobby? Did anyone see her speaking with anyone? Did anyone acknowledge that they knew her and have seen her on multiple occasions in this building? Nothing has been confirmed in this case. The LAPD stated that Heidi's case is being held by the department's Robbery and Homicide Division, and it is still active and open and being worked. On January the 17th, 2023, a judge ruled that Heidi died at 9 p.m. on the night she disappeared. No further details have been released, and her body has not been found. There are some speculations regarding her disappearance. Some think she left on her own accord due to mental issues. Others think that her ex-husband is involved. And most think that her boss, Jason Sugarman, got rid of her to cover up his own crimes. It's speculated that Heidi was working with the SEC to take John Sugarman down, and he found out. There are many assumptions regarding this case, but the most important aspect of this case is the whereabouts of Heidi. This family needs to know what happened to her and lay her to rest their way. They need to close the open wound, grieve, and have someone to visit when she's on their mind. There are many twists and turns to this case, but let's not forget that Heidi is a person, a woman, a mother, a friend, a daughter, someone who is dearly loved and deserves justice. At the time of her disappearance, Heidi was last seen wearing jeans, a t-shirt with a smiley face on it, a gray sweater wrapped around her waist. She is a Caucasian female born April the 4th of 1983 with blonde hair and blue eyes. Heidi is 5'3" and weighs 120 pounds. If you or anyone you know has information regarding this case, please reach out to LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division at 213-486-6840. If you know something, say something. Let's give this case some momentum and bring this beautiful woman home to her family. And remember, Mystery Squad, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I'll see you next time.